time now for another edition of Brock's Mighty Jungle. And we are starting with the Falcons flying into town to face the Commanders. Brock, what do you think?
A Falcon's best tactic is to fly into the sun
tonight,
where birds can't
8
see
on the
them,
Eastern
and turn
on
themselves into a missile
NBC.
drilling right into the other bird, knocking them out of the sky. Michael Penix Jr. only has one start under his belt and doesn't have a lot of film. There's not much for opposing defenses to see. The Commanders are essentially going in blind, and against a Falcon, that's how you get your neck broken. A commander is a military authority leading their troops, but the biggest thing they do is risk assessment. What risks are worth taking and which ones aren't? That is Jaden Daniels today, knowing when to give Terry McLaurin a shot, knowing when to take off running, knowing when to throw the ball away, knowing when to just eat the ball and take the sack. Risk assessment will be key versus a defense that scored 2 touchdowns last week.
There's certainly no risk in using Jaden Daniels in fantasy. The future fantasies now in this game, Michael Penix Jr. and Jaden Daniels. Daniels with 3 top 5 finishes in his last 4 games. Of course, he was the #1 fantasy quarterback last week. But I'm interested on the other side of this one. Michael Penix Jr., the numbers didn't pop, but don't just box score scout here. He played a nice game last week. He's going to have to throw the ball more in this one. And I actually like him as a super flex option as a QB2.
I love that. By the way, congrats to Penix Jr. on getting engaged this weekend. Really happy for him there. I'm going to take the over in this. It's at 47.5. Both quarterbacks have been really impressive. I feel like Jaden Daniels pretty much locked up Offensive Player of the Year last weekend with that comeback win. Offensive Rookie of the Year. And both of these defenses have been kind of suspect. I know the Falcons looked better last week, but give me the over in this one. Our journey through the jungle heads to Tampa next as the Panthers are on the prowl versus
Panthers.
So a Panthers mindset will always be intimidation over combat.
CBS.
The 4-11 team is intimidating a field mouse right now. So when it's time for combat, a Panther wants the fight to be over as quickly as possible. Endurance is not the name of their game. Their first shot is their best shot. For Bryce Young and Dave Canales, you can expect their best 15 plays to be their first 15 plays. They have to score first to win this game. A Buccaneer is a category of pirate. They get their name from the French word boucan, which refers to a large wooden grate they would use to slow roast their food. Now, I've never been curious about what Panther tastes like, probably tough since they're climbing trees all day, but I know for a fact you put anything on the smoker long enough, it will get tender. The Panthers better hope they don't find themselves on the hot grates today.
I don't have any French words here, but I can tell you Mike Evans is chasing history, trying to get his 11th season with 1,000+ receiving yards. He has 182 to get there. I like him to be force-fed in this game. And how about Bucky Irving? 4 touchdowns in his last 6 games. He's really seized control as the early down option in that backfield. Very interesting there. And getting a lot of questions about Chuba Hubbard not going in this game. Be careful. It could be Mike Boone. It could be Raheem Blackshear. It could be both of them. It could be neither of them. I just want to avoid it at all costs this week.
You did so well with the French word right there. I might have you start doing some of those European Soccer League bumps. You're really good at those. I'm going to take Jalen McMillan for an anytime touchdown at +140. Seems to be the second favorite for Baker Mayfield. He scored in 3 consecutive games. And for our final adventure, the Eagles looking to soar versus the Cowboys.
Eagles
Cowboys are plenty dangerous,
1
right?
Eastern
But not without
on
help.
Fox.
Yeah, they got their classic revolvers.
Home of Super Bowl
they're on
59.
their own, and they're not mobile enough when facing an animal. They need a horse, or else they're sitting ducks. These Cowboys are beyond shorthanded today. Without Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, DeMarvin Overshown, Trayvon Diggs, and a few others, the Cowboys are anything but ace high. When you think Eagles, though, you think aerial fights, and they have so many options for their air defense. They have talons that they interlock with other birds before overpowering and cartwheeling them toward the ground. They can also kick and scrape. They use their wings like fists, and they just straight up punch other birds. It's pretty mean, knocking them off of their track. And as the Philadelphia Eagles have the league's best air defense, it is no shock they have plenty of options too. Darius Slay, Reed Blankenship, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, take your pick, because that is an air defense that will overwhelm you in a hurry.
Eric Dickerson may not like it, but Saquon Barkley is chasing history here. He has 162 yards to get to 2,000. He'd be the 9th player all-time to do that. He's just 268 yards away from Eric Dickerson's record. 100+ in 8 of his last 10. You don't need me to tell you to start him in fantasy, but I am going to tell you that he's awesome today. I'm playing overs anywhere I can with him, and I do think he breaks the slate today.
All right, well, I think I'm going to go under on this game. It's low, it's at 38, but with the injuries and the weather piling up in the wrong direction, Jalen Hurts, CeeDee Lamb, other people that you mentioned, I just feel like this is going to be a lower scoring game. And I do feel like the Cowboys defense has stepped up recently, and the Eagles just tend to find a way to ruin games at the very end. All right, hot stuff. You guys, Wednesday morning at 10 Eastern, there's more football on the pitch. Don't miss an EFL League One battle between Barnsley and Wrexham right here on CBS Sports Network and streaming live on Paramount Plus. And when T.O.P.S returns, we'll dig more into the Falcons versus the Commanders. Don't go anywhere.